In the live. Okay. All right. We're live. Wow. Okay. So, hey, internet. How you doing today? Will is here. I just got to the office and something's a little different today. I'm going to pull the camera over. So, Will's back in his, usual seating. Brad came out of the TV for some reason.
They let me out of the box.
And then Adam became Brad Shoemaker.
Brads are spawning.
Well, you got a Brad and Will.
We got Brad and Will.
You got Brad wet.
So,
and now his second Brad has spawned.
Just don't let us eat after midnight.
Yes, don't feed us after midnight.
So really, what is this? Is this some sort of intervention for me, or what's going on here?
Well, there's a reason you're here and not Adam, because you're also a Will. So it's Brad and Will and Will.
Brad and Will.
Brad and Will and Will.
All right, we are live, everyone. Hello.
Hello. This is like I was saying. I think only my third or fourth time being live in the studio.
Wait,
for a full
really?
Nerd, so this is rad. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They don't let you come out here very often, do they?
The pandemic kind of threw a wrench in things for a couple of years, but now I'm good.
Okay.
Flying the friendly skies.
I also was just struck by the amount of beard at this table. It didn't even occur to me until.
Well, look,
I actually wax every other inch of my body. So.
That's more than I needed, Brad. But thank you. I just do shoulders. So no, it's there's always two. This is like a BioShock situation. There's always two beards and one no beard.
Yes,
at least. So shout outs to Elena, who's on vacation this week. But yeah, so we're podcasting. It's Adam's on vacation, Elena's on vacation. We got a substitute Brad. Mm-hmm. And we got a double Brad. You guys are basically like looking in a mirror when you look at each other, though.
I'm not sure if I'm the fill-in host or the fill-in Brad this week. I'm not really sure which I am.
You're Brad.
Yeah.
I'm just Brad.
I'm just gonna call you Adam from here on out because it's easier. But yeah, so.
Blue Bomb, yes, Brad is real, so you can see now he's live with us. Finally,
I exist. I'm not just AI.
Yeah.
Well, look, if you were AI, you would have told a lot more lies. So
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Don't go back and look at my predictions record though. But
look, predictions. That's content. That's not lies. So let's see. Well, we'll talk about some stuff. I don't want to spoil. I don't want to. Look, it's April Fool's Day. It's Liar's Day, is what our
I don't trust you guys.
Yeah. Well, we're not gonna do any Liar's Day nonsense, other than that we have two Brads here and we did a crossover episode.
And that's not a joke.
No, that's not a joke.
That's deadly serious.
Yeah, nothing more serious than a crossover. It's the only way to market in 2025. It turns out. But yeah, so let's see. We'll talk about Gordon's memorial this weekend a little bit because we were all there for that, which was awesome. And then the rest of it's Q&A. So if you have questions and you want to get some last minute questions in, hit the chat, hit the Discord. The link's in the Discord below, so you can do that. But you don't get to San Francisco very often, Brad?
No, not too often. Before the pandemic, I was coming out here once or twice a year.
Okay.
Since then, it's just it's been a while. One of the it's a shame it happened for this reason, but one of the cool things about this weekend actually was I got to see people I haven't seen in 7 or 8 years. So it's been spectacular.
A lot of that. It was really good. I saw some people I worked with at Maximum PC that I haven't seen in a decade almost. Did you do any good San Francisco eating?
Oh, man. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
My favorite. So where I live up in New Hampshire, there's not so many Michelin star restaurants.
Okay.
There's tons of them around here.
Yeah.
Most of them are extremely expensive. So
true.
I work in journalism, so I didn't go to most of them. But I found a nice little Thai place called Kin Cow here in San Francisco that had like a 10-course tasting menu of like massaman green, rabbit curry, like all kinds of stuff I can't pronounce. Best meal I ever had in my life, and it was like $90.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Like 10 courses.
Rabbit curry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Nice.
It was spectacular.
Did it make you hoppy?
No.
That sounds fantastic.
I thought we said no stupidity on April Fool's Day.
I'm sorry.
No.
I immediately
Dad jokes.
just went for the dad joke. That sounds fabulous.
Yeah.
I went out to the Valley after Gordon's thing, and one of the rare treats for San Francisco folk is there's a Wiener Schnitzel out in Manteca, and so I went to the Wiener Schnitzel and got a Chicago dog and a corn dog.
Heck
And
yeah.
I had a double hot dog Saturday, which I was pretty excited about.
Not a bad day.
Yeah. Brad, any eats?
Had a nice egg custard tart right before this.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
There you go.
What was
delicious.
this? I've never had actually one of those. I don't like eggs. Willis brought this stuff in, and I actually ate it, and I didn't puke. What is this?
Straight out of Chinatown, right?
Straight out of Chinatown, indeed. Yeah, I got some egg tarts from Oakland Chinatown called Wonder Bakery. So a little plug for them there. But yeah, like egg tarts, you can get them in like dim sum places, any Chinatown bakeries. It's all good.
I hate eggs. I like egg tarts. So
But you hate it.
recommend.
All eggs?
They visceral reaction.
How is this possible?
You must be sitting
Willis brought
pretty.
them in, so I forced myself to try them this morning. I was really glad that I did.
Yeah, they're good.
Like you must be sitting pretty for the last few months
Yeah.
while the rest of the country loses its mind
It's
about
great.
the price of eggs. You're like, eh.
And I have eggs almost every day, probably. It's like scrambled. It's almost all scrambled these days.
Yeah, I even just like the smell of eggs cooking. Like I can't be in the room. Like just something about eggs.
Oh man!
Aside from egg tarts.
I'll take a fried egg and just have it real runny, and then crack it on top of a salad, or
It looks great. I wish I liked it.
I get it.
Yeah, that was good because I just thought of it because I woke up really early this morning, and then I was like, the bakery place actually opens at 7:30, so I got there around 8ish and got some fresh egg tarts, and then I realized, that's actually a really good deal, like $1.75 per egg tart, and I was like,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, with the eggflation we're having right now, this is actually a really good deal. I got like a dozen for the office.
They were the right amount of jiggly.
Yeah.
That's how I know. If they're too solid, then they've been cooked too much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So how are the hamsters looking?
Hamsters running. Everything's going well. We got all the friends in the chat: Joe Smith, Terabot, Raphael, Coffee. Oh, there's a Will Smith here that says first. Who's that?
Welcome to Earth. Tarbot is Scott Tarr, who I used to work with Gordon at Maximum PC back in the day, before the .com implosion in 2001, but I can't remember for sure when Scott left.
Yeah, they said unfortunately they weren't able to attend Gordon's celebration of life.
So we'll talk about it, I guess, in a little bit. But send me a DM on Blue Sky or something, Scott, or Discord, and I'll eggs are getting a little bit cheaper here, which is exciting.
Have they?
Just
Like what's cheaper?
Like,
Still like $10 a dozen is the best I've found.
well, so it's all over the place. Like we get groceries from Amazon sometimes, and they'll have like a normal price dozen eggs if you catch it at the right time of day. But then
I don't even remember what normal price is at this
like
point.
$4.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. For the non-organic, non-hippy dippy, not the hey, this came from a chicken named Bethany who lays eggs on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays and eats exclusively worms and corn.
Gotta get those Tuesday eggs.
Yeah.
It's like good eggs.
But yeah, like the fancy eggs are back to almost normal price now at the fancy grocery store by my house. Safeway is still all over the place.
Yes.
Sometimes, and it's always like you can only buy 1 dozen eggs at a time, which
We're going to Costco this afternoon, and I've heard that Costco has not really raised their egg prices. It's just that they have a limited supply, and so it's like
That's how it is.
It's a fist fight at the eggs every day at the Costco. So we're going to see how that's going.
throw hands.
Yes.
They I think they're $3.99 where I'm from up in New England, but they limit you to 2 packs. So
That's pretty good. Yeah, I look, I can do 18. I can do 18 eggs for a 2-week period. That'll work.
not for me.
Well, we know where you land. Look, you Norm Chan is an egg averse person as
I'll
well.
eat these eggs.
Yeah, he eats like fried eggs and stuff like that, but he doesn't eat hard boiled eggs at all. And
That's not my favorite preparation either. I can see it.
I mean, look, I could eat if you put a dozen hard boiled eggs in front of me, I would eat them right now. I'm not that hungry, probably.
Like dry?
Well, it's salt and pepper,
Okay.
cut in half. You know,
Okay.
Kool Aid and Luke it.
So Brad, how are those Cadbury's? I just pop one in.
To end the eggs, I don't like normal eggs. I like the eggs this morning.
Yeah.
These Cadbury dark eggs are disgusting, and I would rather eat an actual egg.
Yeah, the milk chocolate Cadbury's eggs are okay. The dark ones are bad.
No, it's
dark.
like a weird, almost smoky kind of weird fake feeling going on.
Here, you want one, Brad? You're welcome.
Okay, so between this and Peep, which
Peep?
yeah, Peeps.
I'll drink some water.
Yeah.
That was a discussion we had. It was like a couple podcasts ago with Elena. I was like, because Elena's all in on Peeps, so and I was like, I like Cadbury eggs better actually. So
A fun life hack, if you're stupid for me, is to buy a bunch of Peeps now when they're available, and then take them with you camping. and use those for s'mores, and it's real funny seeing all the melty.
Does it get all eggs sad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no.
So I like to scar the children when I'm making my my marshmallows.
The kids love it, and by the kids I mean me.
Yeah. I look with the kind of beards that we have. Toasted marshmallows are dangerous food.
Yeah.
Like you can get molten sugar on there, and it'll just burn, and then like you can't get it out when you're camping.
And it smells.
Yeah, it's bad. Anyway,
we're ready.
You guys ready?
Should we do it?
Let's do this. Let's see. Let me get this going. All right. Brad will kick us off. So,
all right.
Brad, whenever
you guys are throwing
ready.
a curveball at me. Let's go. All right. In this episode of Brad and Will Made a Tech Pod on the Full Nerd, we're getting foolish and answering all your questions.
Nicely done.
That's why I wrote it down. Hello, welcome to a very special episode of Brad and Will Made a Tech Pod on the Full Nerd. I'm either your fill-in host or this week's fill-in Brad Charkis. And since Adam and Elena couldn't make it today, I just wanted to establish some dominance.
Oh wow!
And throw on this sick full nerd I'm right belt that VC just
wow.
You brought in the belt.
The reigning champion.
so nicely sent.
Wow!
Thanks, Jester. It landed where it belonged eventually.
Wow! Are you going to take it with you when you leave? So like next week when Adam's like, "Hey, where's my belt?" You're like, "I got it right here."
I like the way you think. Where's my belt now? Yeah, but you know who could make it today? Will Smith.
I'm here. Welcome. Hello. Hi.
Yeah, he's one half of the fantastic Brad and Will Make a Tech Pod, which you should absolutely subscribe to if you aren't already. And you know who else who can make it? Brad Shoemaker.
I'm the other half, it turns out.
He's the Brad.
That's right.
It's nice to have a second Brad, though.
Yep.
I always worry. Like I like to have depth in Brads when I do a new project.
A little Brad redundancy never hurts.
Yeah, it's like pizza. Like you can't have too many breads.
Yeah.
High availability, Brad.
And it's not like Mike's. A mic is a dime a dozen. Like there's we got so many mics. We got Mikes and Dans coming out of the woodwork, right?
I think I made it into my 30s maybe before I met another Brad.
Oh, I knew a couple of Brads when I was in elementary school,
Really?
but
Okay.
but it was unusual. They were Bradley, so I'm skeptical of that.
I just whenever I order food, people can never understand me. Think I say Brett, so I have to say
Yes.
Brad, like
Yes.
Brad Pitt.
I
is
get that
my
all the
go-to.
time.
Yeah.
I thought I just couldn't pronounce my own name well.
So
Do you ever spell it out? You like BRAD, or have you ever gone by BRAD on the internet? Like as you're playing games?
I think it might be in my work signature actually.
It is built in. It is a built-in part of the Brad experience
Yeah,
to get
you
a
have to.
lot of B-Rad.
Is that your Starbucks theme though? Like when you go get Starbucks, it's like, "Hey, I'm Brad Pitt." I was like, "Name Brad Pitt."
Yeah, people love it. You go, hey, Brad like Brad Pitt. Show up to pick up a pizza, you're like Brad Pitt. It's great.
I'm going to tell you, I order stuff as Will Smith all the time. People are always disappointed when I pick it up. So
I'm never disappointed when you pick up food, Will.
I appreciate it, man.
That's enough Brad and Will talk. Let's talk about the other Will. Willis lies back there behind the desk controlling the verticals and horizontals.
Hello, everyone. Happy April Fool's Day. I still trust no one today, so yeah, beware. You talk to me anything like that, I trust nothing. I believe in nothing.
It feels a little less grating than it used to. Like it doesn't feel like people are going as hard on look at our dumb corporate April Fool's goof.
I got like 50 emails last night.
Okay. Still out there.
I just ignore them better now.
Yeah, it's funny. I like not being on the corporate PR train. It's nice because like we get like the kind of spam we get for the Tech Pod is like, hey, we have an AI expert who would be a great guest for your podcast.
Yeah,
and it's 30 of those a week, and I just search AI guest and filter all those straight to the spam. But it's not a lot of other, like it's not. We don't get. Hey, Dyson has a new vacuum that blows instead of sucks, or whatever.
Today's the Razor Skibbity.
Oh no,
Razor Skibbity.
Yeah,
I mean, look, I don't know if I believe. Like, I think the Skibbity stuff. Aren't they making a movie or the Skibbity toys? Is that what I saw?
I purposefully block a lot of that out. That I have a mental firewall for that, so I don't know.
my daughter is the age that all the boys in her class are Skibbity. They're my brothers in Columbus, Ohio, and all that business. Yeah. And it's just so weird to me that that's the end. That's the long cherished, treasured pipeline that started with Gary's mod and ended with me going camping last May and having a 12-year-old walk out of their tent and scream at the top of their lungs, "Good morning, my brothers!" And I was like, what the hell is this? I'm too old for this.
I love it, though.
Do you?
I do. I find the kids amuse me, actually. I get on real good with the kids.
Okay.
Like, I can usually talk kid pretty well. Skibbity just a little bit too far for me.
Yeah.
But in general, I'm fluent in memes,
Yeah. Yeah, I like a meme.
Yeah. I'm real stupid. Like, I have no idea how I wound up working at PCWorld, much less being the executive editor. I have a real stupid sense of humor.
Well, I mean, so this is a thing we talked about. So Gordon's Memorials this weekend.
Yeah.
This is a good time to get into that. So we had like editorial pits. I didn't tell me if GameSpot was like this too, Brad, but I my bet is it was. We used to have the dumbest conversations on the reg in the Max PC editorial pit.
Yeah,
it would be like, we'd start talking about what a word means, and then we'd have an extended conversation about just increasing nonsense.
It spirals from there.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, poor Catherine was over on the other side being like, "Hey, you realize we have to ship a magazine in like 4 days, so get back to it." Same here. This always seemed like a serious business place.
Yeah. No, this is not that serious of a business place. It depends. No, we're pretty good. We're pretty good. I don't know. I don't hang out in the office very often. So again, this is only like my third or fourth time.
Wow. But nobody hangs out in the office. It's just us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Willis and Alex.
We hang out in chat rooms and Slack, like the good old days in the early 2000s.
That's true.
David Richards said, "I didn't say hello, internet. Hello, internet."
Oh,
sorry to forget that.
You popped out of the TV, so now it's
everything's
different,
all messed up.
Everything's different.
So Gordon's thing was this weekend.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. There'll be some stuff from it for the audience at some point, I think, right? But we don't know when that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But like Adam and a bunch of folks worked together to pull together like a computer museum that were meaningful computers to Gordon over the years, and like ephemera from like I loved that. Like my favorite thing was that Adam pulled the fan, because people who know. But Gordon would always test stuff out in the open, which kind of annoyed me back in the day. But like I get it, he was consistent at least, and he would have like an open machine or open test bench, and then he'd always aim like a little like 8-inch house fan at it.
Yeah,
and he did this like back in the Maximum PC. Like he's done this for as long as I've known him. Yeah. So we had that. We had like Adam brought a couple of his test beds from his home shop and aimed the fan at them. We had.
You left out the best part about that fan though.
Oh yeah,
the housing shattered on it. Because I was in here a week ago and he had he was like kind of staging a lot of the museum stuff.
Yeah,
the fan was still whole at that time a week ago, and at some point, getting it over to the venue, like he said, he just kind of like picked it up and it just like the point is that thing saw so much action.
Yeah,
that fan saw so much action that it just gave up.
I mean, I didn't think it when we were talking about it last week, because before you were here, I was talking to Adam about it. I was like, I don't think that's the same fan he had at Maximum PC. But when I found out that the cage shattered around it, it might have been like a 25-year-old fan.
My favorite part of that show was that they did have Gordon's like test beds, and they were absolute chaos. There was a table of just wires, and that fan pointed at him, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Oh yeah,
sitting right next to things like Project Quantum. There were a couple of Dream Machines. Like people watching this, I've never seen a Dream Machine in real life. Will, I'm sure you're jaded.
I was like, the red one was sitting in my garage aging for the last 10 years. I'm sorry.
Well, I took pictures. Okay, it was a meaningful moment to me as someone who grew up admiring those.
Oh. So. It was so for folks who don't know, Maximum PC, we did an annual Dream Machine issue every September, where it was like doing the research to figure out which ones we should pull was fun, because I was searching for Dream Machine 2004, and like the only thing that survives on the internet of that now was forum threads on like Tom's Hardware and Anantech and Hard OCP, where people were like, man, those Maximum PC guys have completely lost it. It's a $13,000 computer. Why? Nobody's going to buy that. That's absolutely stupid. And of course, that was the whole point of the thing, right?
That's the dream part.
Right. It was the whole idea is it's a machine that no one is going to build because it was a ridiculous computer. But yeah, so we pulled a couple of those in. I had a case that Gordon gave me after the 2004 one because nobody else wanted it, because it was kind of, we we wanted it to have 2 screens, but one of the screens to be in the 5 1/4 inch drive bays.
Yep.
And then we couldn't figure out what to do with the screen in the 5 1/4 inch drive bay, so it was a little weird. It was it was like sometimes you do things for the sake of doing them.
Yeah, it's the best thing to do. Now you can play video games on them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was a little like 640 by 480 LCD, so it'd be great for playing Quake.
That's it was really cool. What was it the Retro Roadshow was the name?
Yeah, Retro Roadshow
yes.
was there.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm sure this is like well-known Gordon lore. I didn't know he was a big C64 guy. I just associated him with like old x86 stuff.
Yeah.
I think the C64 was like the computer he had as a kid, and the one that kind of got him started on the whole thing. But yeah, and he I remember we had talked about there was an old Star Trek game called Begin, and I didn't see if he had it actually running. Are you old enough to remember this, Brad?
I'm not.
So it was like almost like a strategy game, but it was kind of turn based where all the art was ASCII characters, and you had a grid that was like 8 by 8, and you had to fly your Enterprise around and fight Romulans and Klingons, and I can't remember, the Thorians maybe were the other ones. It was some like also ran 3rd tier Star Wars villain. But it was all like which sector are you going to go to, and then you fire photon torpedoes, you fire phasers, and it was a game that was played entirely in your mind with just the tiniest bit on the computer.
I miss those days.
And that was the thing. Like that was a game that I played on like an old IBM XT, probably like a 286 or 8088 machine. And
I got in on
Gordon played
486, so it makes sense why I don't remember it.
Yeah. One other cool C64 thing, he modded an x86 machine into a C64 case at some point.
Yeah, so
like a mini ITX or
so he put a mini ITX board machine inside a Commodore 64 case, which I'm sure the Commodore 64 people are screaming about, but it was cool. That was at Max PC after I left, I think.
Yeah, so it was super cool. The Retro Roadshow had all these computers set up, and they had Star Trek games playing on all of them. So super dope.
Star Trek, I think, is what you mean.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
But yeah, so we had that. A bunch of people. It was nice to see like a bunch of like old friends and a bunch of people who loved Gordon.
It's really cool. Like I got to go to both the industry event as well as a personal one the next day, and there like hundreds of people showed up. Yeah. People flew in from all over. Like I'm one of them. Like flew in to, and usually like at memorial stuff like that, maybe there'll be 1 or 2 speakers, kind of a deal. There were over 30 speakers between the 2 days. Like people were like rushing to go up. That's just how big of an impact Gordon had on everyone he ever touched. So it was a beautiful weekend.
The one of the recurring themes I noticed was he was always inclusive of everyone. Like whether no matter. Like this is something that multiple people had, his kids and friends and family members and everybody, like they talked about how he worked at the level at which the person he was talking to was at. And like it's funny, I was talking to somebody and I was like, I'm not a person who needs tech support all that often. But when I do, it's like I need Gordon.
Yeah.
And
he'll be patient and walk you through it.
But like, and also like he always took whenever I had something weird, he wouldn't say, oh no, that there's no way that's the thing, right? So like when my Raptor Lake machine started crashing all the time, he was like, that's weird, let's figure it out. And then he got sick and we kind of backburnered that. But it was we all miss him.
Yeah. Good day. It was awesome showing off some of the stuff he loved. I know he personally loved, like, I wanted to bring this in here. We have some of the museum stuff.
Yeah, what's that in front of you?
This is, there were not very many of these made. I don't know the exact number, so I'm not going to say it on air, but very limited quantity.
A handful, I think.
A handful is a good way to put it. AMD's Project Quantum, back in the day when they had, what is the name? Fiji Vega, like the first HBM2 GPUs. They used it to showcase how much power you could squeeze into a smaller place because HBM like took no size. So this actually has 2 of those Fiji GPUs inside of it. It's the pre-Ryzen days, so it has an Intel chip inside of it. It's all water-cooled inside. It's a really interesting and unique piece of hardware. There are only a handful made, and Gordon, I think, was the only major like outlet that was able to get it and poke around and do articles and videos about it, and he's always loved this thing ever since.
Yeah, it's a super weird machine.
Yeah, I want to pry it open, but I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, no, I think that's the right answer. But
Gordon did do a hardcore hardware episode with that, so internet can go back and take a look at that episode.
Yeah, AMD Project Quantum.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. There was that. There was Kelt from Falcon Northwest loaned us a 3DFX motherboard. Shout out to Brad's hat.
Came prepared today.
But it was a motherboard with an integrated Voodoo 3 Banshee, I think, maybe, which was their first that was their first 2D 3D I guess
pass through.
They had Voodoo Rushes
That's that
before.
little motherboard that's in there. I didn't see this at the show.
I don't think it's that little. I think that little one's something different. I think. But yeah, it was a chipset that 3DFX made that had a Banshee on, I think, the North Bridge, but I can't remember the specifics. We did a story at Maximum PC at some point in 2006 that was secret. We wanted to do a secret weapons of like the Luftwaffe style. Video game reference to the old LucasArts video game.
Yeah.
But we wanted to do secret weapons of 3DFX. And so we had a Voodoo 5 6000. We had that. We had a couple other weird things like ephemera that just survived after NVIDIA bought 3DFX. And that was he was really stoked to see what a weird 3DFX motherboard. I don't think we ever got it to work, but I can't remember.
My one of my favorite parts, there were several World of Warship stories. That was not a joke. He is really into World of Warships.
Oh yeah, we talked about World of Warships. The thing that we didn't talk about was before any of us were married at Maximum PC, we would sit and play Battlefield 1942 Desert Combat and later Battlefield 2 until 9 o'clock. My wife would call my work number and ring my desk, because before we had cell phones even really. She was like, "Hey, are you ever going to come home?" I was like, "Yeah, probably. We got a good game. We've had a good server."
Overtime.
Well, and we would do, I was like, I'm testing stuff. The benchmarks are taking a long time today, honey. The thing about it was a time before anybody had voice chat, really. So we were sitting across the cubes from each other, yelling at each other, and we would just do horrible things to people on the other team.
Unfair advantage.
Yeah, it was totally unjust. So anyway,
LAN parties.
Yeah, Gordon was always I think in his older age, he acted like he wasn't a competitive gamer, but he was always good at the shooters.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So
anyway,
I think it's a good time to get into some questions.
Yeah.
Today, I think we're just doing questions. You ask questions, we'll answer them. We're here. We have some questions in our Full Nerd Discord server. I believe there's a link below the description.
Yes.
You can also just, throw questions out here in the YouTube chat if you're watching us live.
Yep. And please add us at the Full Nerd Podcast so we can see the questions better. And then, we'll answer all your questions. And as Brad said, link in Discord where there's a thread called the Full Nerd Questions, so you can submit your questions. And, if you can't get it today, we'll get back to you later on.
Yeah. Do you want to do? I've got a Liquid R question from earlier today that's pretty fun.
Oh, let's see if this is the same one I was going to throw.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Liquid R Egg asks, "What's your prediction for when the current new GPU shortage might see some relief?" It's less fun than I was thinking, actually.
Oh yeah, I was looking for something lighthearted over here.
Sorry. I could do a lighthearted one if you want. We can table that one for a minute.
Yeah, let's go back to that one. Let's start a little easier than that.
Okay, I got one for you guys. Okay, same one from Liquid R. Do you keep your boxes for various tech purchases? So it's kind of a poll here. So there's A, no, they immediately go into recycling. B, they are my trophies, they are my precious. C, only so I can resell when I upgrade. And D, it depends. Or E, parkour. Anything goes.
I'm interested in hearing from Brad.
I've been in an apartment for 20 years, so out of practical necessity, it's. I'm going to say officially it depends, but it's about 98% toss after the kind of return window is closed, unless there's some really good reason to keep it.
Brad?
I most of the hardware I have actually is review hardware, so I keep all of that because it's not mine. So when they ask for it back, I send it back. My own personal stuff, I usually wind up keeping it. I should keep this somewhere, and then I throw it in the corner, and then a year or two goes by, and I'm like, why am I still keeping this? And I throw it away. But by that point, any worries about return windows and stuff are done. So.
I used to keep things that would be hard to pack when I moved, but then I stopped moving. And at one point I went out in the garage. Trick. Yeah, I was cleaning the garage and I was like, man, this is the box for the mixer that I had like 10 years ago that conked out. And I still have the box for that, but I don't have the mixer and haven't for a decade now. So I don't keep boxes anymore.
Yeah.
Just
I keep manuals. Stuff. I do keep manuals.
Nope. They're all on the internet too.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Manuals can go away.
My official manual thing, if I buy a new thing, I go find the PDF of the manual, make sure I've got it backed up, and then out the manual.
Well, I'm old school. I also like reading paper books, so I keep my manuals.
Right.
See, I have a Dropbox folder that's manuals. It's all the manuals for all the crap that's in the house that I think I might need at some point.
I'm not that organized. All right. So GPU shortages, huh?
We can do. Oh, go ahead, Brad.
Well, if you want to tackle it, I like. What is the bottleneck? What is the root cause at this point? Would you say is it the TSMC bottleneck? Is it just manufacturing capacity to make more GPUs?
Is it increased demand because we're 4 years out from the pandemic?
Is there a demand component? Like, is there just a general component shortage still? Like, that's got to have abated at this point, right?
So I read a thing last week that said, especially this was talking about laptops, but I think it also applies to especially GPUs and CPUs. Mm-hmm. Most people are on a average 4-year upgrade cycle. Some of that got delayed because of the pandemic. So those people, like if you were supposed to upgrade in 2020 and all of a sudden there was no hardware, you couldn't buy power supplies or whatever, you probably pushed that and maybe bought something in 2021 and 2022. But if you didn't have a computer at home, like laptops, they're expecting to see laptop sales kind of spike this year because all the people that bought a bunch of laptops in 2020 are at the end of their 5 years on their 2020 models and
that makes sense.
Probably buying new laptops this year. Now, components
a little different.
I mean, the TSMC thing is a real problem, right?
It is.
Like 4 nanometer is a gate.
It's all goes through TSMC, and the problem is all this AI stuff and other stuff going on, like CPUs, all this AI stuff. Like makes so much more money for the NVIDIAs and AMDs of the world, so they get like first priority.
Yeah. Like I gotta imagine that the spreadsheet that tells NVIDIA what part of their TSMC, like the space they bought at TSMC's 4 nanometer goes to Blackwell data center versus Blackwell consumer versus Blackwell, like I don't know, like they released that. Didn't they announced a 96 gig Blackwell part last week, right?
Yes.
Or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And like
GTC.
Yeah, they got to have like figuring out how much goes to, because it's not like those are the same GPUs and they can just put them on whichever board they want. No. Those are all unique chips, and they got to have wildly different demands and wafers and all that. So I don't know how they figure that stuff out.
Me either. But the current GPU shortage might see some relief. It's hard, like especially this whole decade's been hard to try to guesstimate the future. I feel like things are very murky right now. If I had an opportunity to grab a graphics card for anywhere close to MSRP, I would grab it right now today, definitely.
Yeah.
Hopefully things lighten up over the next few months, because part of the problem right now with graphics cards is that AMD and NVIDIA both wound down their previous gen stuff at the end of last year, and then these launches were delayed. Yeah. So there's just like everything got sucked out. There was no overlap that there was planned. So right now it's just like, oh crap, there's a huge hole. Throw the new stuff in it. We're trying to fill it.
Yeah. Well, and once that initial demand dips down a little bit, we'll see hopefully some more cards that are at least like adjacent to MSRP.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
hopefully.
Yeah. I would, my assumption would be that by summer you should be able to go to like Micro Center or Newegg and get a bundle with a motherboard, a CPU, and a video card for a reasonable price.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
And then like long term, there is more fabrication capacity spinning up, right? Like TSMC is opening operations in America. Like maybe the Intel stuff will pan out. I mean, will we see Intel manufactured GPUs? I don't know. But.
There's a rumor that I saw this week or last week about NVIDIA talking to Intel about using them potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll see. But that's going to take a couple years.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But long term is good. More capacity is good. Everything's just log jammed at TSMC these days.
Yeah. I mean, the Intel 18A stuff, it seems like it's on track is what the last I saw. So fingers crossed.
A rumor from Brad. Yes, Ivan, this is why I don't come to the office very often. I get wild.
But Adam's not here to keep you in line. Maybe Adam's been keeping you from doing rumors all this time. You want to do there's a very sneaky question, rather, Willis.
Yeah, go for it, Will.
Very sneaky says, it's April Fool's Day. What are Gordon's most mischievous moments that TFN hosts can remember? Gordon liked to prank in the Maximum PC days. I don't know if that was the case.
No, not so
over
much
here. Yeah, no, it seemed he was more serious. But
yeah,
we did Maximum PC one year. We did a prank, like a prank guide. It wasn't. I don't think it was specifically for April Fools, but it was like, hey, here's computer stuff you can do, and there were classics like take a screenshot of the wallpaper, invert the wallpaper, and then invert the monitor. And then put all the icons in a folder on the desktop so that when you move the mouse, it goes the wrong direction. And also the wallpaper is a screenshot. So like nothing works the way you would expect. The other one was did you ever see those mouse jigglers?
Yeah.
I think they're used. I think the actual use for them is law enforcement, so that when they like smash in somebody's door and want to keep their computer on and keep it from locking and encrypting, they jam this thing in, and it just emulates a mouse that just constantly moves.
Today I learned. I thought it was just so your boss didn't know you were working.
No. It's I can't remember the company that used to make those, but they did a whole series of bits of technology that were designed for no-knock raids to keep people from locking their computers.
That's specialized.
Yeah, like they had a power supply that was hooked up to like 6 lead acid batteries, like car batteries, that you would pull the plug out of the wall a certain amount and then jam this thing down over the prongs, so it kept power going continuously on a desktop computer. It was wild.
Yeah.
But they sent us mouse jigglers. And so we opened up someone's PC. I'm not going to say who it was, but we opened up somebody's PC and put a USB header inside, plugged it into the motherboard, but didn't have it exposed to the outside world, and jammed the mouse jiggler into that. So that their mouse was just they went through every mouse in the lab. They were like, "Hey, does anybody have another mouse? This mouse is broken too. This sucks. I'm not getting anything." So that was bad.
Lost productivity.
We took one of those beep meters. Gordon had one of those. He bought those things from ThinkGeek, the Beepatron, the Noyatrons, which is like an infrequent, sporadic timing beeper. And he hid it in the drop ceiling above John Phillips's office. And I think he put another one up under the desk where it would be easy to find. But then it kept it in Noyatroning. That was pretty good.
I don't picture John reacting very favorably to that.
It went so badly that no one claimed it. Usually we would claim stuff. The other one that Gordon helped me figure out how to do was we used Skype, because it used to be you could use Skype to call real phone lines back when Skype was still a thing. And we made every phone in the office ring at once, everybody's cell phones, everybody's desk phones. And this was before you had like the emergency calling hit. And it was freaky. Like that one was bad too. But the upside down wallpaper on the inverted monitor, that's a banger. That was good fun every time.
Tarbot in chat says John probably loved it secretly.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know about that one. The other one that Gordon did that he was really pleased with was he snuck a wireless mouse dongle into Catherine's PC, into the inside of Catherine's PC, desktop PC. And just every once in a while, like he was sitting where he could see her desk and see when her hand was on the mouse, and he'd just flick a trackball just a little bit for probably 6 months.
That's messed up.
It was
That's long term.
Yeah, it was. I've never seen anybody gaslight somebody with a mouse like that before, but it was pretty funny.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't do much of that stuff with me here at PC World, but I'm not sure if it was because of Gordon, or who he was. I swear it was trolling half the time. Like, one of the things people kept talking about all the time is how you'll be arguing with him about something. He's always the devil's advocate. He'll throw something out, and then you'll answer him, and he'll just like, okay, but then like shift the argument 35 degrees is the way my boss John described it.
Yeah.
So he'd be like, okay, you just answered that. Yeah, but what about this? And then just keep shifting it 3 or 4 different times. People get more and more furious, and he's like, oh, okay, cool. I was just asking.
It was like non-malicious sea ottering or sea lioning.
Yeah.
Louise was asking, do you guys know anything about the Gordon Star Trek mug? story.
Oh, he got it at the Star Trek experience in Vegas, I think.
Yeah.
Like he went to that during CES every time we had not. It's like when you're print guys at CES, you go up, you do meetings during the day, and then you go to the night event, and then you're free, right? You maybe go to parties or something.
I've never lived that life.
Yeah, no, it was either. Look, pros and cons. But he would go to the Star Trek experience pretty much anytime he was in Vegas, which was, for folks who don't know, was at the old Hilton, and it was like you go into this room and then they teleporter you into Quark's bar, transporter you into Quark's bar by like putting you in this room with a transporter, and then it kind of the lights flash and like it rotates or something. I don't know how it worked, but all of a sudden you're in there, and he would go to that every time. So I think
that's the one you could like sit in the captain's chair and they had the big screen.
I never went. I always regret that I didn't actually have.
I went to a version of that in Tampa. So
okay, this was like there were people that they had the poor waiters in Klingon makeup and the whole thing. So it was like I can't even imagine how it worked.
Nerd.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, moving on. We got one from the chat. Sharf2K asks, 48-inch OLEDs are cheap right now. Is dual 48-inch screens too much for a desktop?
Depends on how far your computer is, or how far your desk is from the screens, right? Like, I don't think I could do. How big is that TV, Willis? Do you know? Is it 50?
40, good question. 48? I want to say 55.
It looks like 55.
Yeah,
okay.
55.
Yeah, that would have to be pretty far away for me to be able to use it.
Yeah, I couldn't do two of those. I've done the the Corsair Xeneon Flex, which I think is a 48-inch monitor. It's one of those really huge ones. Yeah, the bendy one.
Bendy one? Oh man.
Yeah, I was gonna mime it, but then I realized I have to hold on to the
you gotta
right
hold the
belt.
This is the life you've chosen for yourself, Brad.
Someone has to do it. There's no way I could use two of those. Like, I think it'd be super fun to get like two of those 49-inch Samsung super long OLEDs and set up like a super villain circle
those G9s?
Yeah, that would be cool, but I could not do a standard 48-inch dual monitor setup.
Brad?
No, thank you. what are we talking for one of those? Like 4 feet away, maybe, for that to?
Oh, it'd have
like
to be
minimum,
more than that,
minimum 3.5 feet.
When I was using the Xeneon Flex, I had to like type like this.
Yeah,
sitting back.
Yeah.
Sharf says that they're less than 4 feet, I guess, away.
Yeah, I don't think I could do one of those. Probably.
Yeah, maybe one.
I would say if you're really interested, buy one, see how you like it.
Yeah.
And if you want more, go get more. But definitely, I would not just out of the gate buy two of those. That's a lot of monitor.
I want to know what really cheap is too, because my 4K monitor, that's my I have a down low gaming monitor and an up top 4K, and my up top 4K conked out, like it didn't turn on yesterday morning, which it's always the worst. Yeah. Because monitors should last forever, right?
Yeah. And also, it's like, Sharf, you can let us know, like, what do you do maybe, as a profession? Like, if you do it for video, I can see it do it as for video editing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can see myself using, 2 monitors, but 48-inch, maybe a little big. But if I'm far away enough, maybe, yeah.
$550 at Best Buy. That's a really good price.
That's like cheaper than a lot of actual OLED monitors.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says he already has one. That's why he's asking. You're going to have to answer that question yourself then, man. It depends on your setup.
Yeah.
Yeah. The funny thing was I have this old ultra wide, and I was trying to hang it off the top rack. You know, it's on a tilty arm, and it was too heavy. So like a lot of for me is like, will it work on an arm so I can get it at variable height and all that stuff? Yep. And I think the 48-inch TVs are going to be too big for that.
Yeah.
Do you think OLED PC monitors, and I'm not talking about the TVs, but the actual, like 144 or 240 hertz, like gaming PC monitor, like, do you think those are ever going to get to the point that your sort of commodity LCD gaming monitors are, like $200 or whatever to like?
We've been seeing deals recently on some of them for down to like $400.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They're rare, but you can still find them $400 to $500.
Not the 240 hertz ones, the 144 hertz ones.
I think there was a 240 hertz one.
I mean, even 144 is not bad.
No, I'd take that.
I have begun to covet an OLED monitor because Will won't stop talking about
I'm going to go and tell you that
MSI
OLED I've been testing is it's really nice.
Yeah, but all the you go on like RTings or the review sites that like the best monitor, and it's always $800-900. It's like that's.
I'm actually like
a little spendy.
I'm a monitor. That's not a word I should use. I'm a monitor fiend, I guess. I don't know. Like, I used to have like a 360 hertz monitor for when I play Counter-Strike or Rainbow Six. I used to have like a big ultra-wide monitor for when I play Fortnite, and I'd swap all these out.
That's madness.
It is, but I'd usually play a game for a week or two at a stretch.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
But I got to test that Xeneon OLED, and it is so good. And going back to other stuff after that hurts.
Is that the Samsung wide one?
It's the Corsair one. I was talking about.
Oh,
that thing was OLED and the foldy and everything, and it would just like, that's the only monitor I've ever had. Like, my kids walked into the room and just like, whoa.
Well, so I will say when I had that MSI 4K 240 hertz OLED set up, and my wife and daughter walked into the room, they were like, "What's up? This monitor looks real good." And I was like, "Yeah, it does."
Do you know what I want to see on it? This is very revealing of my character. I want to see the post screen. Like, I mean, games, sure, of course, like video.
Oh.
I just want to see a computer post on that thing because most of the post screen is black, right?
Yeah.
Like, to actually see like true black on just the text and the little like AmiBIOS logo and nothing else. Like, for whatever weird reason, that's what I want to see on an OLED.
Well, so I think to that point, I think the thing that'll probably happen is that the LCDs, because the LCDs are getting better and better all the time.
Yeah.
To the point that like the OLED, and in order to get the right brightness out of the OLEDs, they're having to do weird stuff like have double layer displays and stuff like that just to pump out twice as much light. I think you'll see good LCD with like real tight backlights and the whole thing.
Mini LED and stuff like that.
Mini LED and all that. Yeah. My guess is that before the OLEDs get to that price, they're replaced by something else.
Yeah.
But
I still want one.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna go and tell you.
I'll get one of the next ones too.
Like
I have a problem.
I told somebody that I can't remember if it was here on TechPod, but somebody asked if they have a high-end 4 series, like a 4080, 4090, something like that, and they want to get one of the new cards. I was like, don't get one of the new cards. Just go buy one of these monitors because it'd be a much better experience than the 10% performance improvement you're going to see in most games.
It really is like kind of like VR. Like, we can sit here and we can talk about like, this looks good. Like, it's so beautiful. But until you see it and actually play games on one of those, like, it is transformative to me.
it's to me good implementation of HDR, which is getting better now, and the high refresh rate stuff. The high refresh rate stuff is really hard to describe. We obviously can't show it on YouTube where the frame rate caps at 60 hertz, but it is a market improvement that you don't even register. Everything just looks like it's real instead of motion smoothed or whatever.
The problem is if you wind up like me and have to get rid of it and go back to what you had before, it's not so fun.
I'm sorry.
Especially, I'm sitting here in work offices and they have 1080p monitors. And it's driving me insane, and I just had to tell people about that. So I have a question here from Tarbot. He's wondering when I'm going to put the belt down because I'm still holding it. And the answer is when I get it home safely to New Hampshire.
Oh.
You're going to have to get past Louise on that.
You'll put it down when you're wrong, which is never.
When somebody takes it from you, I think is the real answer there.
Speaking of Fortnite, friend of the show Ivan R asks, since Fortnite is now available in ARM, doesn't make Chromebook the best gaming laptop? With its great value, user-friendly OS, great battery life.
I mean, look, the defining characteristic of Fortnite is that it will run on literally almost any hardware, right? You can play Fortnite on a Switch Lite, and it's not great, but it runs. You can play it. I don't think a Chromebook's going to do what you want, though.
No, I would not. No.
Yeah.
Although there are some, they have gaming Chromebooks now. I forget what they call them.
Really?
Chromebook Plus, they call them, where they're not really like, they don't have discrete graphics, but they have like core processors with beefier integrated graphics and stuff like that. So you might be able to get by playing Fortnite on a Chromebook. An ARM PC, actually, the Windows Snapdragon or Qualcomm Snapdragon chips had pretty good integrated graphics. The problem is, all the games made for PC run like crap on them. But now that it's, going to be ARM native, you might very well be able to play Fortnite pretty well on those ARM laptops. But still won't be the go-to way to play.
Can you play Fortnite on? I don't think it's on GeForce Now, right? But it is on Xbox Live Cloud, whatever that's called.
xCloud.
xCloud. Thank you.
Well, what is that Fortnite ARM release? Is that just Windows ARM, I assume?
I think it's just Windows ARM, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, maybe it's going to, well, no, it wouldn't be. I was going to say maybe it's going to be handhelds, but they don't. Tim Epic is still upset with Gabe Valve, so probably won't happen.
Settle down, children.
Yeah. You want to dip back into the Discord? Do we have anything fresh in there?
Let's see. Take a look. Yeah, Cause MC asks, what NES, NES, and Sega games deserve a modern age complete remake?
Strider.
And NES, huh? They tried that.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Made a Strider for PS4, Xbox One. It was okay.
Yeah. Super Dodgeball?
Man, yeah, that's not the worst idea, sure. God, there's so many to pick from.
Earthbound?
Make a modern Faxanadu.
Earthbound's a good one.
What's Faxanady? I don't remember
you
that.
Played Faxanadu?
No.
It's like side-scrolling, kind of not exactly a Zelda. It's like action RPG, medieval action RPG, a bit Zelda-like but side-scrolling.
Okay, I'm into that.
For NES,
like Link to the Past, like
sure.
No, like Link 2, Adventure of Link.
Zelda 2, yeah, maybe a little bit.
They had a Double Dragon remake not too long ago, right?
Yeah, they're still pumping out.
Yeah,
kind of weirdly regularly. They keep making Double Dragon games.
Trying to say, so I hooked up my Mister to that TV I bought a few weeks ago, and I've been playing a bunch of old NES and SNES games, and I'm gonna say Master Blaster. I think they did a Master Blaster Zero a few years ago,
Master?
right? Blaster Master, yeah.
Yes,
it's much better than I remembered it being.
Yeah, Blaster Master is awesome. It was one of those games back then when it was, you were a kid in the '80s and games for $50. It was like, man, you drive the thing around. You can also get out and run around.
It's like two games in one.
Games in one.
Yeah,
that was actually the game I was just thinking of while you guys were talking about this. Because most of the other games already have, there's new Ninja Gaidens and stuff like that. So
yeah, the other ones I liked were the adventure games, like Deja Vu and Shadowgate. Yes. Yeah, like those Deja Vu I rented multiple times from the video rental place by me.
Yeah,
and that game ripped.
Yeah, there's been a
hard-boiled detective story,
couple of Shadowgate remakes and sequels here and there. Yeah.
Okay. So when I was younger, we had a Nintendo. I think everyone our age probably had a Nintendo around then. At least people who were sitting on a podcast talk about technology stuff.
Yeah.
But I actually don't have too much experience with a lot of games because we grew up super poor. And my dad's thing is, all right, you got a Nintendo. I'm gonna buy you a game. When you beat that game, that's when I'll buy you a next one. Games were a lot harder back then.
Yeah.
It took close to a year for us to beat Super Mario Brothers 3 because there was no save element.
You had to do it in 3 lives, right?
Yeah.
So hooking the Mister up, my daughter was surprisingly interested in the analog TV and the whole the clunkiness of the dials and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And she's been playing Super Mario Brothers and is gotten to the point now that she gets to the 4th world without using the level skips.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah, this is good. She's yeah.
Seems like this is a sweeping generalization. Maybe I shouldn't make a statement this broadly. It seems like a lot of the youth are kind of developing a fascination with kind of pre-smartphone analog technology.
Yeah. My kid is my 14-year-old.
Like all the like a lot of kids want film cameras these days and stuff like you're talking about.
Yeah, there's definitely appeal. For her, it's a little bit of she really likes Stranger Things, and it's set in the 80s and there's some vibes there.
Yeah,
but also it's there's a tactileness to using because this is the TV I bought. It has physical knobs that clunk from channel to channel, and
such a good clunk.
Yeah, and you don't have nothing has that anymore.
Right.
Yeah. She's never been exposed to even the knobs on our gas stove are not they're smooth. They don't click. There's no tactileness to them, and that tactile it's even got the chunks, and then it's got the small knob inside to dial in the tuning on each channel.
Yep,
it's really good.
That's actually one of my favorite games, but especially horror games of all time was Alien Isolation. Even though it took me forever to beat it, and that they recreated that feeling so well in that game. That's a large part of the reason why I love it so much.
Yeah. Yep. See, these are all way more plausible explanations than my hope, which is that the kids are seeing the horrors wrought by modern social technology and they just want to go back.
Tarbot in chat calls out my favorite. I wish they still made this game, which is X-Wing or TIE Fighter.
Yes,
because that Star Wars Squadrons game was pretty good. But
I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I would like a lot more of those.
Yes.
I would play those as long as they made them.
That
more
wasn't on
hardcore.
Nintendo or Genesis, though, right? That was the question.
It was only PC. I cheated. Yeah. And later, too.
They need to be more hardcore, though. More sim.
Yeah, I'm in.
Give me more knobs to twiddle inside the cockpit.
Yeah, I want to be able to shift my power from the engines to the shields to the guns and full front or full rear shields. Like, oh man, those games are good. Those games are good. No Sonic games. We don't need any more Sonic games. We're good. Sonic is done.
I think the Sonic audience is well served.
Every year there's a Sonic game, right?
I learned. Look, I did not understand what a formative experience that Sonic cartoon was for a lot of people of a specific age. And I was hanging out with some friends who work in animation who were like, oh yeah, no, people were mad horny for that cartoon for a long time.
Does anyone else have PTSD from Battletoads? Yes.
Oh yeah,
yes. Yeah, man. Boy, if you had bought Battletoads, you would never have played another game again.
No. Actually, I came close to that. There was a game called Daydreaming Davy on the Nintendo. Nobody knows about it. It was a terrible game, and it was just hard. It was like the old E.T. game.
Oh, no.
But in Nintendo form. And my dad's fiance at the time was trying to be nice and bought us that as a gift. It ruined us because my dad's like, you know the rules. And I'm like, Dad, we didn't ask for this game. This game, we are on the second level. Like, we can't beat this game. And so we had like a year of not playing video games and having to go outside, and it was terrible.
That sounds awful. I conquered one of my video gaming white whales with the Mister and the TV, the analog TV, and I fired up Top Gun, which...
Wait, did you land the plane?
I landed the plane, Brad.
Wow.
I played hundreds probably of hours, and every time I played that game, it was exactly the same. You take off from the aircraft carrier, you fly around, you shoot everything, no problem. You crash into the aircraft carrier.
Yep.
And then you take off on the next one because you have 3 lives. So you do that 3 times, and then that's the end of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I landed successfully. Mm-hmm. I
can't even imagine that. Like,
I'm gonna have to stream it at some point because I didn't think it was possible.
Kyle Weil points out the NES Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, the Electric Seaweed and Coral. That first game of the Teenage Mutant.
Is that the one? There's 2, right? Because there's one that's like the arcade game.
Two is the arcade game.
The first
one is a nightmare.
Yeah, that was really tough to beat. I was like, can't even.
Do not remake that, please.
What else we got?
I don't see any. You guys some questions? Throw them in the chat, y'all.
There was since we're talking about old video games, I saw a Zelda question. Earlier, if you want
to do that one. Kaz MC says, which Zelda game should the Zelda movie use as a basis? We can take console questions today because it's April Fool's.
Yes, that's right.
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I don't know if that's my preference, but I think that's the right answer. I think for the market, that's the one they should. Yeah.
Hey, that's what I would go with. I think it'd be cool to get Wind Waker too. Make like a Master and Commander kind of Zelda kind of game.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think any of the 3D ones would probably work pretty well. I don't like. I want to say A Link to the Past, but I don't. I mean, A Link to the Past is the classic story, right?
Yeah.
It's you go in, you have the surprise second act reveal. Hey, spoilers for a 40-year-old video game, but you have the surprise second act reveal where they go back in time and he goes to the dark world or whatever, and you have to kill everybody again.
Yeah.
But I would love a Wind Waker.
Yeah.
Does it have to be cel shaded though?
Well, this is live action. So
you can still cel shade live action.
You could. Yeah.
I was gonna say, should it be a live action movie or a animated movie? Because
is this Zelda movie live action? I thought it was an Illumination thing.
It is live action.
Oh wow.
Oh,
yep.
Who's playing Zelda?
They haven't said any.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
No casting details yet.
No notes. Does Link have to be? Link can't be a silent protagonist in a movie. That doesn't work. They have to let Link talk.
Do they just grunt the whole time? The whole movie, there's a grunt.
I would be all for that.
Yeah, me too. That was a lot of people's gripe with I didn't watch it. I can't speak knowledgeably to it. The recent Halo series on Paramount. Everyone's just like, it's weird seeing his face and hearing him talk and stuff like that. I think it'd be like the same weird vibes with Zelda or Link.
So I watched the first season of that Paramount show, and it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
It was very like if you want to look at like a good adaptation, that Fallout adaptation that Amazon did was incredible.
Oh yeah,
super good.
Like maybe the best video game adaptation to fiction I have seen ever.
Yeah. And they did it by taking like the telling the story in 3 parts with the 3 different main characters ended up really working well.
Yeah.
And I think you could do that with a Zelda game, right? You could tell like the Link and the and the Zelda and the Tingle stories all separately, and then bring them together at the end.
Yes, Tingle, the third pillar of the Zelda franchise.
It's like, without Tingle, you don't have Twilight Princess.
Yeah, I mean, like the advantage of
It's a
Fallout.
different kind of live action movie.
Like the Fallout people have the advantage of a property that is kind of a blank slate from the beginning, you know, so they could tell their own story in it.
Yeah. So we're talking console stuff. My left arm tattoos, now that I'm here in person in picture, is all actually old Nintendo tattoos. Ooh. I have the Konami Code tattoo, and I got a one-up mushroom tattoo I got when I got divorced.
That's awesome. Up, down, left, right. But it depends on orientation, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's for me.
Okay. Okay.
When I look at it, it's right.
Okay, That's good.
Dr. Ian Cutchers is in the chat with us. Hello, Ian.
Hello.
From Tactics Video says, film it in live action, make it low poly with AI.
Nobody wants AI in their movies, Ian. Nobody wants AI in their movies.
I was excited to hear Ian was in the chat, and then I read that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I got one from Discord here. Dr. KMRK asked, 7950 X3D is selling around for $400 now, and that the new 9950 X3D is out. Is the performance gain from the new chip worth the price gap?
It depends on what you're doing, right? Like if you're playing games, it probably makes a difference. If you're just doing multi-core stuff, I've got to imagine it's probably not a whole lot of difference. I don't have access to the benchmark chart, unfortunately.
I mean, if you're not playing games, though, do you need an X3D at all?
Yes, correct question.
Well, okay, fair.
The actual gain in games, even though these are fast as heck, the new ones, compared to the 7950 X3D, I believe the gain in games was only like 8 or 10%. So if you can save several $100s to get the second best gaming chip that's out there, because it's a generation old, I'd probably do that and then put the rest of that money towards a sweet OLED monitor.
Yes, absolutely. And when you say 8 to 10%, is that just in synthetic benchmarks where you're down?
Actual games, it's down. They do have the moving from 7,000 to 9,000. They got the 8 to 10% boost in games. I don't remember if you're asking about video encoding and stuff like that. I don't remember. I'm a gamer.
Yeah,
actually, I meant down at 1080p where you're kind of artificially prioritizing the CPU.
I would definitely get the 7950 X3D.
I mean, the benchmarks were pretty good for you were looking at a 119 versus 137 single threaded and 2026 versus 2262. Yeah, it's fine. It's 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would save the money, I think.
I like money.
How much of a thermal difference did there end up being? I know they flipped the 3D cache around so it would be easier to cool. I don't know how much that mattered though.
So it mattered more in games because it meant that the boost clocks were higher.
It doesn't throttle as much
on the X3D CCD. Than on the 7950. So if you play a lot of games, you'll probably see an outsize boost. I can't open the benchmark spreadsheet, or I would.
Yeah,
do it.
I think the new massively multi-core, the 9950 X3D is going for $800. I think.
Really?
That's a markup, right?
That's the high end one, right?
Yeah, I thought it was $650, but
I might be totally wrong. I'm jet lagged. Even though it's only 3 hours, it's been a long weekend.
$700 on Amazon.
$700 versus $450. That's
that's pretty substantial.
That's a chunk of change right there.
Here's that's the X, not the X3D. The 9900 X3D, which is the 12 core. The one that I think I would avoid is the 12 core because I feel like the 6 core, 6 cores on one CCD puts you in a weird spot with all the console ports that are going to be built for 8 cores at this point. So yeah, I don't know. I think you're good. No. I'm actually testing that stuff right now. So I'm testing 9800 X3D versus 7800 X3D versus 9950 X3D on old and clean Windows installs to see kind of what the move is, and it's just it'll be another week or two probably before we shoot that, but
looking forward to it.
It'll be fun. It's been the early results are really interesting. What else we got?
Oh, Ian said he's flying in tonight. That's too bad. I'm flying out tomorrow morning, Ian. I'll catch you some other time.
You guys will just high five in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look out the window. I'm passing Denver. Yeah, me too.
I got one for one Brad Chakas. Friend of the show, Ivan R. asked, hey, for Brad, name 3 things why East Coast is better than West Coast.
Oh no!
Here we go.
La 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 la.
Starting the beef.
Winning sports championships is always good.
Yeah, what about real stuff that matters? Is it cold there?
I actually really like it here in San Francisco. I love
nice.
visiting. It's really nice out here. There is a big difference in attitude. Like, there is a big East Coast mentality and West Coast mentality. Like, people are definitely more laid back and more chill out here in general.
Yeah, like every job I had up until I moved here, I had to wear real pants.
Yeah.
And not jeans or shorts.
Yeah, like out here, it's like, like people roll in 10, 15 minutes late all the time. They show up when they show up, kind of a deal. Like, punctuality's, like, in the Boston area is different.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily better. It's just a main difference that I see.
We're more dirtbags out here, like you're saying. I get it.
But I'm not throwing the hate on anybody because I like East Coast and West Coast.
Wow.
It says David Richards says cheesesteak. I think I would believe East Coast has really good cheesesteak compared to the West.
Yeah, actually, the lobster, the seafood out there.
Ooh,
like
yes.
I grew up in Florida, and then I moved to the north of Boston, and there's just been awesome seafood everywhere in my life forever, and it's great.
I love a Dungeness crab, but the blue crabs that you get from the Chesapeake Bay are far superior in every way.
Yeah. The lobsters are good.
Yeah, lobster. New England lobster is delish. I like that pizza with the clams on it. I'll do that.
Ooh.
The white pizza with the clams. That's a delish. We don't do that here. Or people who do it are
North Beach. North Beach pizza.
Really?
We'll
they have a
do
clam pizza?
The Golden Gate Special, if they still have it.
I tried it once, but I don't know about recent years.
I ate like most of one about 15 years ago and have never touched it again. Not that it was like terrible. It was very heavy on garlic. Also, I should say. It's like extreme garlic and clam pizza, and a little goes a long way.
The one thing that we do here that I love, like the Asian influence on a lot of food, like there's garlic crab houses where you get these. They braise like for people who don't know, Dungeness crabs are like 12, 14 inches across. They're huge. And they cook them in like butter and beep loads of garlic. And then you get like thick noodles with them, and it's delicious. It's so good. But also, you can't go around other people that haven't had that for like 4 days afterwards.
The best pizza I ever had in my life is actually one of those white clam pizzas.
Okay. Oh.
There's a famous pizza place in, I think it's Connecticut, called Pepe's Pizza that like every president for like the last 80 years has stopped there. It's one of those kinds of tours.
Okay.
And when you go there, it's like a 3-hour wait in line. They'll only take cash, and they charge this was like 20 years ago, $30 for pizza. So like an insane amount for pizza.
Is it a big pizza or is it like a
thin crust? It's kind of Connecticut, New Yorkish style.
Yeah.
But it was the single best pizza I ever had in my life. But it also made me realize the best pizza I ever had in my life is not worth standing in line 3 hours for.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like the delta between that and like a Little Caesars hot and ready is
there's a big difference.
Yeah. I can see that.
3 hours in line. Wow. I'll be hungry by then.
Tastes Like Tofu has a good question in that 3 hours is a long time for pizza.
Yeah, it is.
Like it's not like it's brunch or a PlayStation.
I don't even watch 3-hour movies.
Fair. Tastes Like Tofu says, hey, do you see the handheld market coming down to 1 or 2 major players by the end of next year? I think that's a good question.
That is a good question.
That seems pretty soon for it to consolidate. Like it feels like the beginning of the land grab has just begun,
Well, and SteamOS is hitting the market this year, which I think is actually probably going to open it up to more people.
Right. Like the first third-party SteamOS handhelds are just coming along. Like the rumors about Microsoft shipping an Xbox handheld have just started up. So it feels like it's probably 3-4 years away probably before it starts winnowing back down, if it ever does. Maybe that's just games now. Like maybe handhelds are just like the bulk of the market now, and they're just continue to be a ton of options.
You can't buy GPUs. You gotta
right.
Yeah. Well, and I saw a report a couple weeks ago that estimates that they've shipped like 6 million Steam Decks, which means that like that's going to be like that's a sizable chunk of the Steam like hardware. Like if you look at, I don't think they break out Steam Deck in this hardware survey yet, but it's like that's got to be a top 20 GPU at this point.
Yep.
And that's enough to move markets, right? Which is compelling.
That's why I'm glad they're not rushing to upgrade it, because I think like the large appeal of that is like it is somewhat console-like. Like, here's what it is. Try to hit these specs with your game, and the fact that they're not upgrading it, I think, is actually good for the industry.
Yeah, do one per console generation. You know,
that seems right. Sure.
It works for Nintendo.
Yeah, and they do one for the last console generation. It's not even the current console generation.
I agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened, but it's gonna take a few years.
Yeah, and like it's a new enough market that, I mean, I think Valve probably is going to end up being a contender unless they just stop making new hardware.
Yep.
Like Asus seems to have an early lead now, but I think anybody could come into play. Like MSI has the Intel machines, Lenovo's doing SteamOS early.
Yep.
Like there's a lot of, like, anything could change at this point still.
Yeah, I would not discount the possibilities of that rumored Xbox handheld.
Oh, no.
Because Microsoft bringing their kind of full stack experience to bear, and like crucially being able to ship a version of Windows that is SteamOS like, but also runs Fortnite. You know, like it runs all those multiplayer games that you can't play on.
Well, and they have the
Steam Deck.
They have the benefit of not having to pay Microsoft for their OS too,
Right.
which helps.
Yes.
So
It's still, they're taking so long.
Yeah.
It's so vexing. Like, why is it taking you so long?
Well,
Yeah.
but like how many Surfaces do they sell, right? Like if you look at what Valve has done with the Steam Deck versus like the least good selling the original Surface RT.
Yeah.
Like it's it's a different market scale. You want to do a couple more?
Yeah, let's do a few more. I know Brad Shoemaker has needs to wrap up a little earlier.
Oh, I've got a good 30, 45 minutes.
Okay. Will, you got any on your plate? Or I can throw one or two.
Very sneaky asked, which would you choose, an all-in-one gaming PC or a gaming laptop? I assume an all-in-one gaming PC, they mean like an iMac style gaming PC, right? I don't know. Did people make those? I didn't know that those existed.
You can get them with mobile chips.
Okay,
there's
like
some
APUs
of them. They're pretty rare, but
I would build a small form factor, I think, before I did a gaming laptop. I know gaming laptops are wildly popular, but the gaming laptops for me, they're always loud. They don't hold up particularly well. You can't do any kind of upgrades, so they're good for 3 years probably, maybe before they conk out. And I would do an AIO, a small form factor, I think, before I did that.
Any feelings on a laptop plus like eGPU? Like I've been fascinated by the idea of the external GPU since like when did Thunderbolt first, like 15 years ago?
It's always been the dream.
Yeah, I feel like
16.
I feel like every time I've asked Adam about it, he's always been like, it never works quite as well as you think it should.
Yeah.
So, have you ever had one of those laptops? Have you used one of them ever?
I've used the eGPU laptop out here.
Okay. So I had, when I was doing VR stuff and I needed to be able to carry demo hardware to do VR, like have a VR min-spec machine to do demos and stuff on the road, I had this Razer Blade, the thick one, not the small one, like a 13-inch laptop and an eGPU case that held a 2080 or 1080 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great because I could carry a GPU. I could run like something better than the 1060 that was in the laptop wherever I went.
Yeah.
But it was always janky. Like always janky. Like you plug the thing in and then you had to reboot it like 3 times to get the switch over to the external GPU. You had to do like getting the external GPU footage out on the laptop screen was always hard. There was always a performance cost to running across the Thunderbolt interface. It's getting better. Like Adams did some testing a couple weeks ago. I can't remember if that video is up or not yet, but with one of the external GPU docks.
The 5090 one?
Yeah, the 5090
yeah, that's up then.
That's up. Yeah. And like it's fine. It's better than not having an external GPU in a GPU dock, but it's like it is not the turnkey solution that I want for like a computer that I use every day.
It always seems like there's just something that pops up like once or twice each time that you use it. Like there's always just like, oh, like that got messed up. I'm gonna have to redo that. Like it
yeah.
And I haven't touched the recent ones, but it's always been that 1 or 2 issues away for 10 years now. That's my feeling.
Yeah. and the other thing is because the bottlenecks are in weird places, games perform really weirdly sometimes, especially games that stress the system. Yeah. Like they're not accustomed to a PCI Express bottleneck and weird things happen. Like it's not bad stuff, but it's like if you don't like microstutter, this is probably not for you.
Yeah. I'm not sure what I would do in this case. Like, I personally would build a PC before getting a laptop if I could. I do have gaming laptops. I'm just going through this the first time I had gotten my kids some gaming laptops. They also had a 1060 in it. And it's getting slow enough, like, she can't even play Minecraft that well anymore with the CPU and the GPU. So I have to, like, not throw out the laptop. We're still using it for other stuff, but, like, it's like I have to think about buying you a laptop now because I can't upgrade that. And this is the first time I've ever had to actually like deal with that reality, and it kind of really turns me off of laptops.
Yeah, that's a bummer. There's still like stuff like Framework out there is starting to do upgradable laptops now, which is kind of nice.
So I'm just like, would I rather have an eGPU that annoys me 5% of the time and not have to deal with that in the future? I'm not sure where I actually fall on that argument.
Well, but then you look at what you do with like a cheap like an AM4 ITX case and board, and like that's what I built for my daughter a few years ago, and she was like, "Hey, I want a PC to play Java Minecraft." And I was like, "Okay, I got you." And we put together a 5600. Like it was right around Black Friday, and there was a 5600 bundle with a motherboard and a CPU and RAM and all the whole deal.
Perfect.
And it was super cheap. It was like under $400 or something crazy. We put it together. And when the 3080 that I mean, look, she did benefit from the downstream flow of Dad's hardware problem.
It's good if you can get it.
Yeah. But when that card is no good, when that card doesn't hang anymore, we can pop that up another card in, and she'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I think there's you get a lot more machine for your money, even if you build in an expensive ITX case.
Yeah.
Than if you're doing a laptop. The AIOs I'm curious about. I kind of want to get one of those in and test it because I've never really seen those. That's interesting.
All right. Any more questions in Discord?
Let's see.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, hit it.
Mark Hockman, who's been on the show before, he actually did a piece today outlining the coolest demo he ever saw, because he's like, I realized this weekend he was getting, introspective, not retrospective, with everything going on. He's like, I wish I knew what Gordon, the single coolest thing he ever saw was.
Oh, man.
So I ask you guys, what's like the coolest thing you've ever seen?
Like product demo?
Yeah, just something like that. Something in the industry, a game, anything like that. What blew your mind?
Like the first two that come to mind are seeing Half-Life 2 and Doom 3 each for the first time at E3, like the behind the closed doors before those demos were public.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick which one was more mind blowing. Like Doom 3 just for like sheer visuals.
Yeah.
Half-Life felt maybe a little more futuristic just from like actual technology standpoint though, with all the. And I actually came upon a video. This video's out there of. Do you remember the Half-Life 2 demo they made that was like it was this really artificial little map? It was literally kind of like a fun house or
it was like
it's like here's our like tech test
physics stuff.
It's like here's a character model on fire. Here's our stained glass. Here's like all the weird stuff we're doing with sound and physics. Like that felt like the future of games. Seeing that for the first time, I think.
Awesome.
Like I think Gabe Newell was there for the demo I saw. So like that was a fun one.
The thing that blew my mind actually. Was actually not the first time, but maybe the second time I tried the prototype Oculus Rift. It was like one of those crazy, wacky demos where it's like you're walking across a balance beam in real life, and
Did they have the board out? Did you do the one with the board that they did?
The one where you like strap
and your feet hang up to the edge.
Yeah. Those ones like VR again is something you have to experience to know about it. But those first couple of times when I was doing those, I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, I remember.
I'm terrified to fall off of this ledge.
Yeah, I never did that one, but I remember everybody I knew that came out of that thing came back to the office just like mind completely blown.
Norm and I went to an event that they had for that. So the Oculus demos were really good. There was one where Nate Mitchell and Palmer Luckey were doing. It's when they showed the hands for the first time. That was really good. Where they had a demo where you were sitting across from someone and all you saw was their head, their face, and their hands, and you could like pass stuff back and forth across this table to each other and play little games and stuff. That was pretty good. The one that blew me away was the Vive one, the original Vive one at GDC in like 2015, and that was the first time. That was when Valve Valve brought the prototype Vives. You still had to be wired into them at that point. So you put this belt on and were connected. Your controllers were connected to the belt. None of it was wireless. And they had somebody in the room with you because they didn't really they hadn't worked out the room scale stuff yet. So they hadn't worked out all the chaperone stuff. So they needed somebody to keep you from walking into the walls.
A guide.
But they had this demo loop that was, I think, 5 or 6 things, and it was all non-violent stuff. There were no guns. It was like there were a couple bow and arrow games, but it was like you stood on a deck of an undersea ship and saw this huge whale, and you did tilt brush for the first time, and you shot a bow and arrow at the little portal guys. And I want to say there's
all of those on my.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But it for me, that one, it was the first time I had used hands. Like the Oculus demos with the hands up until that point had been neat and novel, but they didn't really use the hands to give players other verbs for gameplay, right?
Yep.
So and that you went from having like, when I talk about verbs like this, I'm talking about video game verbs. So like if you think about what you can play on a gamepad or a mouse and keyboard, it's like you can move and you can jump and you can shoot and you can aim and you can like reload and that's what you map to the buttons on a gamepad, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
With the VR stuff, you could pick stuff up off the ground, you could throw it, you could catch it, you could turn it over, you could flip it, you could toss it in the air and catch it again. Like you could do so much more with what was available to you. And the loop that they had kind of started you off with just walking around and progressed until the end when you were like painting and doing all sorts of like 3D painting in space with tilt brush. And it completely changed the way I thought about like not just VR but computers. I like it there's a direct through line to me doing that demo. There's a video on the Tested channel of Norm and I talking about it for like 45 minutes because they didn't let us have cameras in there.
Yep.
And I quit my job. Like I was like, there was a through line from there to me quitting my job and starting a VR company. And it was a remarkable thing. The HoloLens demo that Mark linked to, I was at, and that was a remarkable one as well.
It's funny that it's so many games in VR is the answer.
Yeah, I did HoloLens, and that one also was way up there.
Yeah.
I had my both of my grandmothers over to try the one with the whale on the deck of the ship. It was called the Blue.
Yeah.
And my grandma
always
was
wins.
sitting there just like fully immersed, loving life. Like this feels like I'm in Star Trek's holodeck kind of a deal.
Oh yeah.
And it was just like one of the coolest moments of my life to see my grandmothers have childlike glee.
When the whale looks like, well, your brain was doing something that it had never done before.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The other one was that Half-Life 2 demo event that they had at Alcatraz. Valve and ATI at the time, pre-AMD purchase, I think.
Yeah, it was like Top of the Rock, I think is what they called it.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
I missed. I was flying back from TGS. I was on a plane. I missed that one.
So they loaded a bunch of journalists onto the Alcatraz ferry like at 6:00 at night, and we got to go out to Alcatraz at night. And Gabe did a little talk in the cafeteria, in the prison cafeteria. And
that sounds super cool.
And then they let us go up into places that normally are off the tour because when you do that corporate money, you get to go good places. And it was real weird. It was a real weird, like no technical stuff that changed the way I looked at anything. We didn't get to play the game. We didn't get copies of the game
because the game was not there.
No, the game wasn't. Are you kidding, man? They might have had a loop, like a video loop or something.
Huh.
But I think this was while they were dealing with the leak.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they delayed it immediately following.
Yeah.
So like they did this huge event. They had flew a bunch of people out to San Francisco, did the whole thing. Gabe came up and talked. They immediately shuttled him off the island before he could talk to anybody. and then the game didn't come out for another year or something. So it was a Radeon 5800, I think. But I'm not 100%.
That sounds like a spectacular day.
It was a real weird day. Gordon came to that one too. Gordon didn't normally come to press events for game stuff. He didn't really care.
He'll
that
go
much.
To Alcatraz,
but he was like, "I'm going to Alcatraz at night." Hell yeah! He brought his wife, the whole deal.
Oh my gosh, even I haven't been to Alcatraz at all yet. And I'm a
really?
local. And
you
I'm a
live
local.
here.
I know, I live here, and I'm a local, so I feel bad.
Willis.
Yeah, I'll make Adam take me one of these days.
Yeah, the nighttime Alcatraz. If you ever, they do nighttime tours on the reg. It's worth doing if you get a chance. It's really cool.
I don't like spooky stuff.
Don't go to the nighttime Alcatraz then, because it's real. It's
pretty creepy.
It's pretty creepy. Wear a warm jacket also.
Oh. Okay. A couple more, and then we can get out of here. Okay. Let's see. Friend of the show, Liquid R on Discord says, "What is a simple trend or innovation from another industry that you would like to see adopt in the tech or PC industry?"
Oh man, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Sorry, trend from what?
Somewhere else.
From any other industry.
Oh, literally anything. Huh.
Yeah.
I look, I like the Oreos in the 50 million different flavors. I think we should have flavored PCs. Wait, no, that's an Adam and Patrick Murray bit. Sorry. Never mind.
He's always advocating for scented thermal paste. So,
Nobody wants that. Yeah, I don't know. I think most, like, it kind of feels like most of the trends are bad.
Yeah. This is a very half-baked thought. Is there more room for like right to repair type stuff in PC building than there used to be? I don't know.
There is in the laptop field.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
In PC components, I don't know what form that would even take. It's not like you're going to put a new GPU on the board of your graphics card or something. Like I'm not sure, but
it's weird because like I had that monitor die and I had fixed a monitor. Like I had an LG Ultrawide that was old, and it has a known problem where the EEPROM gets corrupted sometimes. Right?
We did a tech pod about it.
We talked about it on the tech pod. Yeah, and I bought a $10 EEPROM flasher and downloaded the BIOS for the board, firmware for the board, and just reflashed the EEPROM. This monitor it's almost certainly the same problem, and Acer hasn't released the firmware for it, so there's no way to fix this one, which feels bad. So yeah, I feel like the hardware was good. If I'm gonna have to e-waste this monitor because of an inability to get a replacement firmware for the EEPROM that's soldered onto the motherboard, that feels really bad. I would love to see more right to the repair stuff. I'd love to be able to fix that.
Yeah, I can't point to another industry necessarily that aces this, unless you're looking at luxury stuff, I guess. But I just wish customer service was better in general. Like, to me, that's an area where tech particularly really struggles. Like, things are always going to break. These are complex electronic parts. The way that you treat your customers when your stuff does break makes a big difference, and I feel like, that needs to get better.
That's huge.
That's one of the things I miss EVGA for. I'll say it now because they're no longer in business, so I can show my bias. I was a massive EVGA fan. Like, all the cards that I bought were EVGA cards. Like, and customer service was a big part of the reason why.
You never went wrong with an EVGA card back in the day.
Yeah.
I honestly, I think the answer to this is hard because a lot of the people in the PC space actually lead the way on the trends that should be. Like, you look at what Framework's doing with their laptops and the fact that they're making upgradable laptops so that what is traditionally a disposable item once it conks out is a thing that you can then like put a whole new motherboard in if you want. Right. That's really compelling.
Because it's not like the keyboard and touchpad and screen are necessarily obsolete when the guts of it are, right?
I mean, the monitors, I mean, obviously there's better monitors now than were 10 years ago, but the resolutions and all that stuff is basically the same as it has been for the last decade. Yeah. So it makes sense to keep that.
Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, like, these are random examples, and I swear I'm just a customer. I've never been involved with these companies at all, but like Seasonic and Noctua are two, where in both cases, I mean, the products are very good to begin with, but both cases, like, I've emailed their support about some like adapter that didn't ship with my model or they put out later or whatever it was. In both cases, both those companies sent me whatever thing I was looking for on the house from another continent, like from Taiwan in Seasonic's case, and I think Austria. I think it literally shipped from Austria when Noctua sent me an adapter, and it's like, I didn't even ask for anything for free. I think in Noctua's case, I literally said, "Hey, can I buy this adapter from you?" And they're like, "I will just send it to you."
No.
It's like I am now your customer for life until you give me a reason not to be. Like, it's such a little, it's such a little thing, but you have locked in so much future business from me.
I had the same thing with Fanatec back in the day. I have a Fanatec, like one of their fancy wheels, and the power brick had gotten the cable through a series of bad and unfortunate choices. The cable to the power adapter had gotten broken, and I called them and was like, "Hey, like, this is 100% my fault. I broke this. Can I just buy another one?" And they were like, "Don't worry about it. Like, we'll send you a replacement." It wasn't like I was complaining on Twitter or something. I just reached out to their customer service, and getting really good customer service feels so good. Yeah. Like, you remember that.
And it stands out because so many companies are utter garbage at it. So,
I mean, it's like it's hard to do, right?
Oh,
there's a real expense to it. It takes real money. But like I've been using Fastmail for the last month or two, and their customer service, when I had a question about how to like properly forward my Gmail to there so that the spam filtering stuff worked the way you would expect, rather than getting double spam filtered or not spam filtered and then spam filter, whatever. They were like, here's how you set it up, and they sent me not just to a fact page, but like gave me specific instructions for my setup, and I was way more than I expected. So yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to Fastmail. You want to do one or two more, Willis?
Yeah. I have one right here from, sorry if I butcher the username, RawTXNJR asked, should video card vendors go back to SLI to alleviate the massive power issue with modern video cards?
I don't think putting two 5090s in a computer is going to make the power problem
They're
better.
about like 25070s though.
Look,
The people who do SLI go for the 5090s.
Yes,
hey,
fair.
Hey, Brad Sharkus.
Yes.
When was the right time to buy two cheaper SLI cards and run them in SLI instead of one more expensive card?
Never.
Yeah, that's right.
And SLI is not coming back. Like the way game engines work with it, like it's not coming back.
It was never very good.
No.
Like, well, hold on, that's not true. Putting two Voodoo 2s in your machine kicked ass. It was really awesome. You could run it at like really high resolution. It was really fast. No downside. Ever since then, since the rebirth of SLI and like the GeForce 4 era, I guess, or
Right around there.
yeah. Like there were always problems. A lot of times, especially if you play new games when they come out, the driver that made SLI work for the game wouldn't be available until after you'd probably finished playing the game.
Yeah.
And like, there's no
frame
upside.
pacing. Frame pacing was always a mess.
It was always bad.
This has 2 GPUs inside of it.
I mean,
Full circle.
AMD used to do those cards with 2 GPUs on the same card.
Yeah.
Those sucked too.
Yeah, they did, because it's
Yeah.
the exact same thing. They can't communicate with each other, so not well. So
I keep
like us.
I keep making this joke talking to you guys and to Adam, but I'm increasingly not joking anymore. Like when are we going to start just plugging the graphics card straight into the wall like Voodoo 5?
Yeah.
Look,
style?
man.
Like I honestly would love to hear from like graphics card architects, like what is stopping them at this point? You know, like is there a technical reason not to do that?
Well, so I talked to Tony Tomasi, like years and years ago. Like I've told the story here before, but a GeForce 3, GeForce 4 launch, I was interviewing Tony Tomasi, who was like the technical marketing guy for a long time for NVIDIA. And I was like, hey, what's the upper limit on what you guys can do with GPUs? And he pointed at the 120 volt plug on the wall. And he's like, it's 120 volts and 15 amps.
Okay.
Right. That's the most we can pull because that's what most people have in their houses. And like some newer houses are going to have 20 amps, but we assume it's 110 volts. 15
You want to
amps.
make sure that old house doesn't burn down.
Yeah, you don't want to melt somebody's wires inside their house.
Yeah. But you know, like if you do an external power brick, like the plug into the card doesn't have to be that big. You know, it seems like there's enough room on the bracket to put.
But it's all has to come from the same wall.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
But
So
I mean, if the whole machine is maxing out an entire wall outlet, then maybe we have bigger problems.
yeah, the
know.
reason the Voodoo 5 6000 had that was that power supplies. Like, look, back then it needed what? Like it was probably like 150 watts or something extra. It's like PCI Express just delivers that now.
Sorry, Lewis Law said electrical fires are not fun. I agree, Lewis Law.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Brad. This is triggering for you, buddy. I'm sorry. But yeah, and so the external bricks are like you're not saving anything by doing an external brick. Is the point?
Well,
like,
what I mean is you're just lessening the load on the system power supply. You're moving a lot of, because I think that's what the question was about, right? Like,
yeah, but it's still coming. Like literally, it's. I mean, I guess if you had two circuits next to each other, you could do way more power on the external brick from the second circuit and have it. But like, I think it's more likely that NVIDIA is just going to make a GPU that we drop a CPU into, and some RAM, than yeah. I don't know. It feels like the tail's wagging the dog, right? AMD and Intel both released these really nice low power CPUs this last generation that are as performant or more than the previous generation, like light your house on fire.
And then they get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, and then it's a rounding error over the 600 watts that the high end NVIDIA cards draw. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
All right.
I don't know.
If you want to get deep into it, Ian Tech Potato has some good comments in the chat. So
What do you say?
he explains the technical reasons behind electricity and all that kind of stuff.
Well, and I guess his point is it's about buying a cheaper internal power supply.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
But I mean, then you're just your video cards just. I mean, maybe on the $2,000 video card they can eat the cost of the external power brick.
Yes.
I don't know if that's likely. Yeah, we don't want to have 3-phase power to run computers in 5 years. That would be bad. My room's already hot enough. Tar pot.
Yeah. Otherwise, we're going to have to start getting ACs, especially here in California, which we usually don't.
I have a portable AC for my office for the summertime.
Show off.
I know.
Brag.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 more and let's get out of here. One from a friend of the show, Coffee. As modern games require increasing amounts of VRAM, particularly at high resolutions, what advancements are being made in efficient texture streaming and memory management?
Oh, there's improvements made to that every single generation.
Yeah.
Like, you never hear about it like you would hear about it on a Nantech back in the day. The Nantech style sites, you'll hear about it. You can go look it up. Like, they are relentlessly working on color compression and all kinds of compressions going on to do that streaming. I sound like an idiot today. I am too tired.
Well, no,
like that was just a jumble of words.
But no, you like it is literally every generation. Like the thing that's happening now is they're starting to apply tensor core stuff to it. So
yeah.
Like the NVIDIA talked about neural materials, which use AI to condense like a 20-step material shader pipeline material into like one neural material, which sounds kind of like when you talk to game developers about AI stuff, they often make a face that's like, hey, I'm in a public bathroom and it smells bad. But when you talk to them about that, then they're like, oh, that actually sounds pretty. Like, it's like there was a demo at the NVIDIA booth about animation that we talked about. People like that one. People, the neural material stuff is interesting. The things that they're doing with like mega geometry to reduce draw calls in forests and stuff like that is really clever.
Yeah.
The lighting thing that we talked about last week or the week before. Like there's a like it's not sexy and it's not super exciting and it's mostly really technical stuff, but it's all designed to make your games run better.
And it happens every single generation. Like all
and
of
sometimes
these
in between, yeah. Because the thing about them is they're not fixed function pipelines anymore, right? So they're able to do driver improvements and changes to the way things work. And Microsoft rolls out new stuff, and NVIDIA rolls out, and AMD, and anyway, they all do it. So yeah, it's cool. Always happening though.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, last one, and let's get out of here and get lunch. Let's see. Transition here. Okay. Friend of the show, very sneaky, asks if PCs were snapped out of the existence of Thanos today, what would the full nerd or the tech pod mostly be about?
God, I think about this way too much.
Really?
Because I've been watching a lot of historical fiction and stuff lately, but I've thought many times, like, if I was born 200 years ago, what would I have been into? Because all the things I'm into now, not even a twinkle in anyone's eye at that point. Like, what in, say, the like early 19th century would satisfy what a PC satisfies for you now in terms of your like technical interest? I don't have a good answer for that.
You'd have had a lot of Leyden jars probably.
Maybe.
Yeah, right.
Maybe.
I mean, we would have other stuff to talk about because we don't do just PC stuff on the Tech Pod.
Yeah, true.
I hear you guys talk about food from time to time.
No, that's us.
We do food.
Yeah, we do food too.
And we've been way into steam engines or something. I don't know.
Steam engine.
Yeah, I could see a thing where we're like, hey, look, if you compress your cylinders a little bit more, you get that valve up some.
Yeah.
You can get 10 more horsepower out of this steam engine. What if you use charcoal instead of coal? Burns a little hotter, a little faster.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it'd be food. I think it'd be a food podcast probably.
Sure.
But
Early 19th century podcast.
For me, I don't know. It's kind of a weird question.
On wax cylinder.
I'm actually really nerdy. You can't tell looking at me right now about like working out and like improving your body and stuff like that. Like, I think it's super cool. To me, it satisfies the same itch as like min-maxing your RPG character. It's like, hey, if I, do 40 reps of these, then I'll increase my strength by 3 pounds over the next week or something like that. And I actually love the science behind that and just like mind science, just science about the human body in general. So that's probably where I would go.
contributor on Casey Johnston's She's a Beast.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's awesome.
She rips. She's really good.
Nice. I'll be the same too with the food train. So if you guys ever talk about food, Brad and Will and your tech podcast or food pod,
you'd be there.
Let me know.
Well, yeah, like I would be on the food side. I'd be on the bulking up side, not so much the shrinking down is where I'd end up.
Bulk, sideways.
On a perma bulk.
Yeah. Just I'm always be bulking. That's what we say. That's what we say here at the Full Nerd.
All right, so that it.
Yeah. Brad, why don't you take us out of here?
Yeah. Unfortunately, you won't be able to check back next week for a new episode of Brad and Will made a tech pod on the Full Nerd. But you can check back next week for your fill of PC talk on the normal Full Nerd.
Yeah.
Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, maybe. I'm not sure. Definitely on Deezer. Yeah.
24/7 Deezer, baby. Just get in there.
We're making them money.
I'm still not convinced Deezer is a real platform.
They made $542 million last quarter.
All right. That sounds pretty real.
More like Deezer's podcasts.
Where can the internet find the Brad and Will Make a Tech Pod?
Oh, it's techpod.content.town, home of fine podcasts.
Thanks.
Super fine. Definitely go onto all those places, leave a rating, maybe a comment. I don't know if you can on Will's site, but if you listen to it anywhere else, I was listening to y'all's stuff on Spotify earlier, and you can definitely rate you guys over there.
Yeah, I found out that there are comments on Spotify, and I was really surprised by that, but they were nice. I was like, oh, people like the podcast. That's really sweet. But those Apple Podcast reviews help like if you want to help your podcast, get out there and leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
So do that. Feed the algorithms.
Yeah.
Brad will make a tech podcast. Full Nerd. Go like them all. Every time you do, a new Brad or a new Will gets its wings.
I feel like we should have like a big cross here. This should be like a fighting game cross thing. Right?
This was a fun crossover.
Yeah. Well, next year we'll have to get like Serial or somebody on, right? Like the Full Nerd cross Serial or cross I don't know what a big pod This American Life.
Call Her Daddy.
Yeah, exactly. Call Her Daddy. That's the big one these days.
Yeah. Well, we need to get out of here so they can put me back in my box and so they don't realize I ran off with this belt. I did wear it the whole time because I'm right. I'm Brad Charkis as well, actually, coming at you live for the first time in a while. And thanks for hanging out, Will.
Always a pleasure, man. It's good to see you. It's good. Like, it was fun this weekend because I saw a bunch of people I've only seen in Zoom windows.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you were exactly the height I expected because you sit in the frame.
You were off by half an inch.
I know.
Half an inch. That's it. That's outstanding.
Yeah, it's good.
And then, thanks, Brad Shoemaker.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Brad, you can check his stuff out on Nextlander as well.
That's right.
It's awesome. And Will often makes appearances.
I show up occasionally.
Yeah, kind of a lot.
Yeah, shout out to 33 Immortals and Void Crew has been a lot of fun lately.
God,
So
need to get that Void Crew update out.
it's coming, man.
Yes.
It's coming.
Yeah, nextlander.com for all the video game stuff that I'm into.
But seriously, I'm not here very often.
It's
not trying to be overly shill you guys, but like if you're watching the Full Nerd and you like what we talk about, you will love Brad and Will Make a Tech podcast.
Thank you, man. That's
So
very sweet.
go follow that if you're not already. So that's us. And Willis Lai is going to take us out.
All right. Thank you, Brad. Really wish you stay a little longer, maybe next week for another podcast. But, we definitely like to, you here in person especially. But, come back more often,
Fingers crossed, man.
All right. Thank you, Internet. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us. And we will see you next time. Bye.